Coming up on Network Africa, Zimbabwe's ruling and opposition parties signed peace pledge in Harare. Six albino candidates to run for office in Malawi's 2019 general election. And a private cargo ship carrying 108 migrants arrived in Italy. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Temitope Fagbemi. We begin today in Zimbabwe, where political parties and candidates who are taking part in next month's elections have signed a peace pledge in Harare. The ceremony is intended to bring together all political parties and candidates in a renewed commitment to peace ahead of elections next month. Signatories of the pledge at a ceremony promised to use legal methods and not violence to resolve disputes. However, neither President Emmerson Mnangagwa nor main opposition leader Nelson Chamisa showed up to honor the peace pledge. Instead, both sent representatives. The signing comes days after an explosion at President Mnangagwa's campaign rally killed 2 people and injured 50 others in the country's second city, Bulawayo. So let's get more on the story from a Zimbabwean journalist, Nigel Yamutumbu. Thanks for joining us on Network Africa.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Nigel, you are the peace pledge signing. How did the ceremony go?
Yeah, well, the peace signing ceremony was indeed a timely intervention following the unexpected and disturbing events that occurred at the governing party's rally in Bulawayo on Saturday. And the key message that was prevailing was that such senseless acts of violence have no place in the politics of Zimbabwe, and for the first time, all major political parties that are contesting in this election have appended their signature, pledging peace, pledging also to observe the rule of law, and to basically ensure the environment is conducive for the elections scheduled for the 30th of July.
Now, we understand that President Mnangagwa and main opposition leader Nelson Chamisa were absent at the signing. What does this say about the authenticity of the pledge, saying that these are the major politicians in the election?
Well, both President Mnangagwa and the main opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa, were represented at the highest level. While it would have been really significant that they were seen to be at this particular event together, that they would also have really carried weight if their signatures were to be appended. But needless to say, I think the fact that the persons that represented them, the chairperson in the case of the Chamisa's party, the secretary for administration in terms of the ruling party ZANU-PF, are indeed high level enough to exude and to show the commitment to this peace. But going forward, I think President Mnangagwa has said that he is going to bring around the table all the contestant candidates, where they are going to discuss how they can best create a peaceful environment for the election, more so in particular in light of the unexpected explosion at Bulawayo last Saturday.
Now, talking about the explosion in Bulawayo, we understand that 2 people, unfortunately, have died after that explosion. Have the police been able to find any motive or anyone responsible for the apparent attack on the president?
Indeed, two people have been confirmed dead, and it's really sad and unfortunate. What we have from the police thus far is just a call for patience, it's just a call for calmness, and also a call. The police have even offered a reward to anyone that may bring about information. And I think this really makes this case very complex. In that, number one, the persons behind this explosion are unknown. It's very difficult when you are dealing with faceless characters, and I don't think they even have an intention to be known. There are obviously some conspiracy theories that are not necessarily based on the truth or on facts that are going around. As such, it should really take SADC, for the regional bodies, SADC and the AU, should really take a keen interest as to this unfolding development. And on the part of our security forces in Zimbabwe, this is the time that they can demonstrate their professionalism, that they are non-partisan, and that they can be thorough in their investigation, bring in various experts. Really, the state should get to the bottom of this matter, and not only that, but also guarantee the safety of all the candidates contesting in this election.
Zimbabwean journalist Nigel Yamutumbu, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
My pleasure.
Meanwhile, in preparation for the 2019 election, 6 albino candidates have made known their intentions to run for office in Malawi's general election. Director of the Association of People with Albinism in Malawi, Everstone Kondowe, says they want to show the public that they are more than their skin. Mr. Kondowe's association has pledged to field 6 candidates in the presidential and parliamentary elections in the belief that it would challenge perceptions of people living with albinism. In Malawi, like other countries in the region, people with albinism are hunted down because of the belief that portions made from their body parts can bring good luck and wealth. In 2016, a UN expert warned that Malawi's estimated 10,000 albinos face extinction if they continue to be murdered for their body parts. As the migrant crisis continues to linger in Europe, another set of Africans have been rescued by the private cargo ship Alexander Maersk after being stranded out at sea for days. More than 100 refugees finally arrived at the Italian southern port of Pozzallo today after being picked up from flimsy dinghies waiting to disembark since Friday last week. The Italian government closed its ports to NGO ships operating in the Mediterranean, saying the European Union must share the burden of disembarking the hundreds of migrants rescued at sea, mostly off the Libyan coast. Meanwhile, Italy's Interior Minister Matteo Salvini returned from Libya yesterday, reaffirming his government's willingness to stop migrants from reaching Europe.